Snipers, you have to see what's happening with the Bitcoin price right now as I'm here at Austin, Texas, about to go on stage and speak at Consensus 2022. But I had to get out this emergency update because my analyst just sent me a view of the current order books for Bitcoin. Notice how we have major support at 28,000 US dollars. Now, Bitcoin is dumping. This is not a surprise for those that were tuned into the Snipers channel. We knew coming into this weekend with equity markets dumping that we had a bearish bias. And now inflation data came out. It was higher than expected. Celsius is saying that they might have to sell some of their Ethereum. And now we're seeing some bearish fundamentals come on the table, but the technicals are black and white. So there's a lot to discuss today. I personally have entered into a long position already for Bitcoin because look how there are no sellers above 29,000 US dollars right now, but there are many buyers below 28,000 US dollars. The question is, what is Bitcoin's final destination? My entry price for my long is at 28,274. We have a liquidation price of 25,361. Let's dive straight into the charts because a lot has happened with this move, Snipers. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this content. So the first thing I want to discuss is our thesis on the channel, to remind you, is the fact that Bitcoin has potentially bottomed out during the Luna collapse at 26,700. And the reason this thesis has maintained true is because we've never come back down to test those levels. Even despite all of this bearish news for Bitcoin coming into this weekend, we have still held 28,000 US dollars. And so as long as we hold above 28,000 US dollars, that could change while you're watching this video. If it does, I'll get an emergency video update out. But as long as we hold above 28,000 US dollars, our thesis remains true that there's no reason for Bitcoin to come further down, that we have a potential psychological bottom already. And I understand that the equity markets did dump to close the week, but what also gives me confidence that there's no justification for Bitcoin to dump right now is, yes, the S&P 500 fell, but it did not form new lows. It could still be considered a higher low forming for the S&P 500 right now. And so if the S&P 500 has yet to breach its recent lows, what justification does Bitcoin have to also breach below its recent lows? And so at this point, I'm confident in my long position. Of course, it's a day trade on leverage, but we know there's a bearish bias coming into this weekend. And so we have our previous weekly open at 29,468. We currently have an indecision candle on the daily chart between the major Luna support at 28,000 and the previous weekly open. So what we'd like to see at this point is for Bitcoin to hold above 28,000 US dollars. And so far, Bitcoin has had every reason to see further downside, even Ethereum selling off, forming new yearly lows, but Bitcoin still maintaining above the Luna bottom. Why is this important? Well, guess what, Snipers? Check this out. The Ethereum to Bitcoin chart has finally hit a major level that we've been waiting for months, and that's 53,500 Satoshis. This is an extremely important support level. It's not a coincidence that our 6-hour candle low when we first came down to test this level was 53,450, just 50 Satoshis shy of the extremely important level. Why is this important right now, Snipers? For those that understand the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, this is a gauge on market sentiment, and this is the first time that we're testing a major support where if it was garden variety market behavior, we should at least see a reaction back to the upside to at least test the first level of resistance, which would currently be the daily open. But I'm looking at this area here where we have confluence with the monthly open, weekly open, and previous weekly open around 61,000 Satoshis. And guess what? If the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart does see that move to the upside, that would most likely happen with Bitcoin also moving to the upside. And that would show confluence with what's happening in the order books where there's no sell pressure above 29,000. And so Bitcoin can swiftly move back towards the $29,750 level, potentially even 30,000. And so that's why I'm in my long position. And it's really nice to see the fact that Bitcoin has maintained itself strong, even with the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart selling off right now. And why is this the case? Well, Bitcoin dominance, interestingly enough, is also finally approaching a major resistance for the first time since it started to rally above all of its daily moving averages. 48.94% dominance is the major resistance. It looks like there are some puzzle pieces starting to reach their destinations, and that we could potentially have at least a dead cat bounce in the immediate short term, but maybe even a potential bottom still because Bitcoin has yet to test the Luna lows. And not to be conspiratorial, but I'm here at Consensus 2022. I'm talking to a lot of investors here. Everyone here has an allocation in the cryptocurrency market for the most part, right? Especially a conference like this during a bear market, you've pretty much got the passionate investors here. And so I've talked to a lot of them. A lot of them are reacting to the inflation news, of course, but what they're also talking about is some interesting things, like the fact that, check this out, for Bitcoin right now, on November 13th, 2021, Bitcoin had a candle high of 65,000 US dollars, and Elon Musk tweeted this photo of a blue man. This is actually a reference to a comic book, I believe from the 70s and 80s. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but the man was on the moon looking away from Earth, and that was the top for Bitcoin, or at least arguably close to the top. And on May 28th, he posted the reverse opposite of the man looking back at Earth, and this was on the 28th of May, which, guess what, is where Bitcoin formed its higher low from this recent consolidation after the Luna bottom. And that was when Bitcoin had a high of 29,266, a low of 28,450. Interestingly enough, exactly where the Bitcoin price right now is trying to find whether or not it wants to bounce or potentially dump. And at this point, we have yet to see price action below 28,000. And so could we say this is an opportunity for a long position? I think that there's a lot of justification. I'm not trying to spread conspiratorial thinking on this channel, but it's very interesting that the richest man in the world posted the top and so far close to the bottom for Bitcoin. And so would it be wise to be buying into the fear right now? I think that dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin is always a great idea. And then when it comes to leveraged positions, I am personally looking for leveraged long positions on Bitcoin, as we have been over the last few months. As altcoins continue to sell off into Bitcoin, we still know there's a lot of fuel from altcoins to come into Bitcoin, which could give Bitcoin strength. And the S&P 500 already sold off into the weekend. Ethereum already forming new yearly lows. Bitcoin's still holding up above the major support of 28,000 US dollars. That's the Luna bottom. And so that's been our thesis here on the channel, and it's maintained itself true. So very interesting to see some of these puzzle pieces react. There's not much more that I think is significant to talk about on the charts right now. I know that there's some news that Celsius might have to sell some Ethereum. That could be why Ethereum is selling off right now, but we just have this puzzle piece here that we have to really keep in mind, because there are certainly traders and investors that were watching the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart as it's been selling off. And this right here that we're currently testing is a major support where we've never come and tested this support. This is the first time. And so I am quite confident that we could at least see a bounce here or a reaction here. And so the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart giving us a very strong puzzle piece into this weekend, and the Bitcoin dominance chart also coming towards this major resistance for the first time, another major puzzle piece. I am still confident in my long position at 28,200 for Bitcoin right now. Is this the final destination? I'm not a genie, snipers. Who knows? Here's what you just have to keep in mind. For this weekend, the major support for Bitcoin is 28,000 US dollars. As long as we stay above 28,000 US dollars, there is a psychological bottom still intact, which is the Luna bottom. The major resistance is our previous weekly open, 29,400. It's going to be hard for us to see any bullishness during this weekend. So we might have to be a little bit patient, just because the bias into this weekend is bearish based on how equity markets close and the inflation data. So we have to sit on our seats, see what happens here. And with that, thank you all for tuning into the channel today. I have to go and speak here on stage at Consensus 2022. Once again, I appreciate each and every one of you tuned into the channel. And if Bitcoin does breach below 28,000 US dollars, I will get a major update out to you guys, but I am not expecting that. The downside target, I will say, if Bitcoin breaches 28,000, is 24,788, pretty much the $25,000 level. It would be abnormal for Bitcoin to do that this weekend, because that would be something that the S&P 500 has yet to do. And so the most likely scenario is that we potentially stay here inside of this range until we get more answers as equity markets and institutions start to participate when markets open up into this week. And with that, I will see you all next time. Snipers out.